This is the second in a series of 3 streets I'll be driving in very far east Lucas. After this, we're going to start doing some subdivisions out here, and we're going to work our way through Fairview too and show you some of those really neat developments out there. We're going to be driving down Shady Lane now. We were just on Snyder, which I recently drove. This street is well named because it is a shady little lane. Off the beaten path. You won't see hardly any traffic on this street at all. Mostly older homes. This is older Lucas. Some of these homes have been remodeled, and they're on nice wooded lots set back. So you can't. These homes don't come on the market for sale very often in here, and when they do, it could be a good bargain for you. So I don't know if there's anything for sale on the street now. I don't believe there is, but this gives me an opportunity to talk to you about the NTMWD, which is North Texas Municipal Water District. We're going to drive right by there. And most people don't know this, but Lucas, Fairview, Plano, 4 or 5 other small towns, they get their water from the North Texas Municipal Water District, which pulls it from Lake Levant. It's treated. And if you have sewer in those towns, which a lot of them do, this is where the wastewater is treated also. So there is something you have to be aware of out here. This used to be a real problem. We live maybe a mile to the south of here, but odors from that NTMWD, when the wind was out of the north, used to be pretty bad. And that's because there wasn't a lot of construction out here, and there wasn't a lot of uproar when we got those odors. But it has been really knocked down, and I think, when they're starting to get those smells, people are calling up complaining, so they're on top of it. Nice home, couple nice homes here on the right, fairly new. But your water's got to come from somewhere, and if it is, you are on public sewer, which most of Lucas is not, and most of Fairview is not. This is where that's why they have septic systems, and if it is on a public sewer, it goes over here. And I won't get into how the whole process works, but both wastewater and drinking water is provided by the NTMWD. We're going to be coming up here to the intersection of East Winningcoff Road and Shady Lane. Real nice new home here coming up on the right. And there's actually a newer, smaller home. I don't think doesn't look like it's going to be close to the size of this one on the right. But that was an older home, a tear down, and they took it down. And, that's going to be a nice site for somebody. Okay, as it swings around, now the street is East Winningcoff, and that in the distance, that big field and that mound, that's the NTMWD. So these homes have to be aware of that. And I have asked these homeowners, how bad it is. Do they ever get the smells? And they said it is periodic. So just something to be aware of. But this is another great street. A lot of, again, just like Shady Lane, a lot of older homes, older generation homes. People are coming, and actually on this street, there's some mobile homes too. So people are coming in and buying those and either taking them down or totally remodeling. This is a home that we sold. That's a great little, kind of a ranchette, nice home with a big barn, and I'm sure whoever lives there now, they're perfectly happy. But this big tract field on the left, I don't know if that's going to be developed. I never thought they'd be selling land, the water district, but they did sell a tract of land along Orr Road, and it's been pretty much developed out. I'll take you down this street to the left here in a second. That's called Wellborn, and kind of a short dead-end street. Now along this street, this was a developer. I don't know his name, but he came in and priced these lots real aggressively, and it didn't take long for this development on the left to sell out. None of that's happened on the right, just on the left. But you can see you've got a real nice mix of more affordable homes. And again, I can see some of these being taken down or completely remodeled. And we are driving straight east towards Lake Lavon. Really great street. I've walked this many times and very, very peaceful. You'll see at the end here, there are a couple like right there. There's a big tract of land. This was an interesting home. This is not like anything you really see out here. Total contemporary and nothing a lot like it, but kind of a neat home. We're going to pass a home, and you'll see way back in the back. That was a really cool home. We sold that 3 or 4 years ago, and they actually stayed in the area and built another home. Newer generation homes here on the left. I have a feeling this farmer on the right is the guy that actually owned this land. I have a feeling that this is the guy that owned that land, and it's probably still does own land, although I'm not 100% sure. Now, where you see it going to a blacktop right here, this was kind of a newer addition to this area, so you'll see bigger homes. You don't really see a lot of, on big lots, small homes. And a lot of that is because of the homeowners association. And some of it is just doesn't really make sense to put a small home on a big lot for resale purposes. Nice big tract there. Don't know who owns it. The big tank back in there. And then you'll see these are pretty good sized homes on bigger acreages, 3 to 4 acres, I would imagine, most of these. And this is probably 4 to 5 years old that this came in. All that to the left has not been developed. Again, we're heading straight toward Lake Lavon, and we'll make a 90-degree turn to the right here, which is south, and that's the end of this street. Interesting story. I knew someone that lived, I'll show you this house up here in a little bit. I always say septic system should be out of sight, out of mind. And kind of to prove that, I knew a homeowner back here that had a septic system for like 6 or 7 years. They lived in the house. They never even knew it. So that's how they should operate. But realistically, they should be pumped about every 1 to 2 years, depending on how much use they get, size of the family. And that's going to cost about $400 to $500 to do that, depending on how many tanks you have. All right, big homes here. That one on the hill, well, you can see the training ground for horses, that riding arena. So horses, in Lucas kind of go hand in hand. It's not the best soil. It's not like Aubrey and Pilot Point where you've got that sandy loam. Unfortunately, the land around here is called gumbo. We refer to as black gumbo. And when it's raining out, it kind of clogs and sticks to your boots or your feet or the hooves. So you got to be a little bit more careful with horses out here to make sure that that doesn't impact their health if they're walking around these big clods of mud on their feet. Nice big greenhouse back there. Coming up to the end of the street right here, and looks like someone's putting in some sod. And I believe this home to the right here is for sale. Nice home up there on the top of the hill. So this is East Winningcoff, where it dead ends. This next street is called Wellborn. The big track you see to the left, again, that's the North Texas Municipal Water District, and that's a huge property. I don't know what their plans are with that. We just passed that's the mother of all barns right there. I went up and looked at the slab on that thing. That's a huge building, and they're putting the building up before they actually build their home. Very quiet back here. You talk about having to find this place. Unless you know where you're going, you're probably just not going to even stumble on these two streets back here. Far East Lucas runs you into Lake Lavon. This little building, home here on the right, that was the first one out here. And when I first started out here, that was it. Anything you see from this point on, that was never there. He's done a great job, always built a lot of stuff, bringing buildings in and getting it just the way he likes. Now you'll notice most of these homes have a big barn or outbuilding or storage building. That's very common for this area. And the nice thing is you don't have to match the facade of the home if you build a metal building. So you can see they're all good-looking barns. None of them are trashy, but a lot of homeowners associations require you to spend quite a bit of money. Anywhere you can see from the street, you've got to match it with the stone or brick, whatever you've got the front of the home. Talk about quiet nights and look up and see the stars. You are as far east in Lucas about as you can go right here. There's no, as I've mentioned in another video, there are no lights over Lake Lavon, so everything to the east is quiet. But even from right here, you're no more than about 12 to 15 minutes from millions of square feet of retail, entertainment, dining, hospitals not that far away, and I think that's why a lot of people pick this area. These lots sold for a lot less than you're going to find lots now, for sure. And again, this is McKinney ISD, so the lots are going to be quite a bit less expensive if you can find one. And the downside of McKinney ISD is it's a long way to get to those schools. Plus, it just doesn't have the reputation of Lovejoy ISD. That's the big drawing card out here. I wish the schools were rated equally, and I wouldn't have to broach that subject, but unfortunately they're not. Now we're heading down, this is called Ford Lane right now, and this was back there up on top of that hill. That used to be called the Ford Place. She owned all this property and sold it off in, I think, bigger chunks, and then some developers maybe bought some and cut it into smaller lots, or maybe these homeowners came in and just bought 2 or 3 acres and contacted her directly. I don't know, but this is one of my favorite areas back here too. We actually sold that little home to the right God, probably 20 years ago. I don't even know what it sold for, but this is a nice property here. That gate leads up to some really pretty farmland up there. And this home here is set at the end of the street. Always been one of my favorites with a privacy gate. So this is Ford. Now, Winnenkoff kind of winds you around. The Winnenkoff we drove up was to the right, and now we're on Winnenkoff again. It kind of makes a 90-degree turn to the south. This street runs into 3286 or Lucas Branch Road, and you'll see some traffic on this street late in the day. Traffic's coming in from, the Dallas, Plano, whatever, and they're trying to avoid that intersection. So you'll see a little traffic here in the afternoons, but it doesn't last long. That property to the right, we sold that years ago, and that was one of the last Blackland Prairie tracts of land in this area, from what I was told. That's a certain type of pasture land that was native to this area, and I was hoping it would be left fallow the way it is, and it has been. And then we'll pass a private road up here, which I'm not going to take you down. It's really a cool private road, but I'm telling you, you need a four-wheeler to go down it because they maintain the road and the city of Lucas doesn't. The residents don't care if it looks like that. In fact, they probably want it that way, so it discourages people from coming down that street. But that's it right there to the right. This is a nice tract of land here. Two big tracts of land here. I doubt someone's going to sell these in the near future. One of them lives there, and I just don't see them ever selling. Sometimes this land is passed down from generation to generation too, but you never know. But this is a neat area because I get to drive by and look at this beautiful scenery on my way in to Allen. You'll see horses and goats and sometimes longhorn cattle. Isn't that pretty through there? The next street we will come to, it leads into, there are two Huntwick estates. There's Huntwick Estates, the original, and then there's the Estates of Huntwick, which is a newer development. Very nicely maintained, nice properties. And again, we love it because really from anywhere in here, you're maybe 12, 13, 14 minutes at the most from shopping, retail, hospitals even, entertainment, semi-pro hockey, top golf, things like that. So you really feel like you're in country here, but you're not. This is the one of the roads into Huntwick Estates. The land right ahead, boy, you drive by something and you think, I wish I hadn't sold that. This is the only piece of property we really bought on investment purposes. This 13 acres here to the right, and I spent some time and some money getting it cleared out, and then our business really went down. This must have been when we had the real dip in the economy, and we ended up selling it. But boy, if I had that now, even if I didn't sell it, that would be worth a fortune. At 13 acres. Lots out here are so expensive. And then we're going to go, this last stop we're going to make right here is Barrett Lake Estates. There were 12 or 13 lots in here. We sold out all of these lots. Took 3 years to develop this and finish it out, which is ridiculous. But there are some issues with the way it was developed, but there are some gorgeous homes back in there. I've got one more drive through some of the streets in the older Lucas, and then I'm going to start some drives through the subdivisions of Lucas, Fairview, and Parker. And they look totally different at street level than you'll see on aerials, so you might enjoy those. Thank you for watching.